with a double finger going.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. It's good to be back. We were away last weekend. How's everyone doing?
Oh, I'm so glad to be back here. I tell you, I'm not very good on my own. You guys keep me in line. So three
We
weeks
can't
away,
let you
and
wander, hey?
it's a little rough. Yeah.
Too funny. Yeah, we're going to be doing fan favorite topics again, but first, we would like to do another one of these shows. I think the topics that we have this week will probably be able to clear up, but we would like to do this again. And so, guys, if you do have any topics that you would like us to answer, submit them to our I Want to Believe Facebook page, or you can email us, whichever one. And Trevor, you had a great idea doing at the end of the show, maybe pick somebody's topic,
Yeah.
and going from there.
Yeah, because we'll have other guests and stuff on, and we do interviews, and I think it'd be cool to get their insight on some of these questions as well. And I thought it'd be great if we have a bucket of questions that after even those shows that we pick one a week that we kind of dive into with some of our guests or some of our other topics. So if you want to know more about the paranormal and our views and some of our guest views, please submit more questions. We love them. We love them.
Yeah, we love. Well, first of all, we love the attention. So thanks, guys, and don't forget, to subscribe, right? Because that's how we actually get viewers. That's how it raises us in the ranks on YouTube here, and we really do appreciate it. So if you can remember, please subscribe, like, share this content. We truly appreciate it. So. Lynda, how you doing? How was your week?
It was a busy week. I had a sick mom this week. She's getting better, but it was a busy week. But I'm raring to go. I'm excited for this show. I love doing these.
Ian had just asked, where's Pete tonight? So Pete is taking tonight off. I should actually mention that his new show with Jason is starting next Friday, I believe. Bit dodgy, isn't it? Bit dodgy, ain't it? I believe that's the name of the show. So he'll be bringing that to this channel as well. And we're also going to be going on different platforms too. So it's not just going to be YouTube. We're going to be on some podcasts as well. So when we get all of that information, we'll let you guys know. So if you can't, let's say, have the ability to watch us on YouTube, you'll be able to find us on different podcasts also. So that'll be pretty cool. Trevor, how was your week?
Oh, we've been busy. So, especially with the team, we just finished up a small investigation of old Odd Fellows Club that's now an apartment, and we're getting some interesting evidence out of that. We're still kind of going through it, and we just scheduled another private residence investigation for this next month, and then in April we've got our trip, ghost hunting trip out to the old tuberculosis hospital in Gooding. So we're having a good old time. So we're loving it.
That's awesome. Yeah, we're gonna be down there in April. When is it?
That's right.
End of
The
April.
weekend of April 21st, Kathy and Pete and Jason, and I think one of his other team members are coming down to join us, and we'll make sure we get a lot of good footage, and maybe we'll get to put some of it up here on our show. So it'll be good times.
Yeah, it would be. Oh, it's going to be lots of fun. I think. I can't wait to head down there. It's going to be a blast. Haunted dolls is one of the topics, and somebody asked what was the most frightening experience. These are all really good topics, so we'll be writing them down, guys. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
Love it.
My week was pretty good. I had my son turned 18 yesterday. He's my baby of the family. I can't get over this. I'm just like, he was just born yesterday. I know it, and I don't know what happened to the last 18 years, so I'm having a really hard time with it, but I'll be okay. I'll be okay. It's like, holy crap, you're legal now. Well, legal in our province anyway. Now he can. But it was funny. We went to we did go-karting yesterday, and that was amusing. Here I thought I would be like speeding around the track, like, oh yeah, I'm like, freaking race car driver or something. Meanwhile, I'm put, and like my daughter's like, what is wrong with you? Why are you going so slow?
I'm obeying the speed limit.
My son's passing me, and he's never driven anything. He doesn't have his license yet, eh? And he's just like, what the hell is wrong with you? I'm like, I'm doing it. It was funny. But anyway, we had a good time. So that's all that counts. And Lena's right. He's always going to be my baby. So, yeah. I just have to tell him that, whether he likes it or not. It's like, you're always my baby.
It's hard, though, isn't it, when they grow up? I mean, I can't believe that I've got a 28-year-old and a 26-year-old. Like, how?
My oldest is 32.
Oh, God.
So my oldest is older than yours.
Yeah. And Trevor, you have married kids, right? Or a married kid?
I have one that's married. Yeah. So she's 22 now, I think.
Wow.
So she married young, and I have my 19-year-old, and then I got a couple years left before my next one graduates from high school. So.
Oh boy.
Yeah. And I got a bunch left over. So we just kept cranking kids out. So I'm set for a while. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're good.
That's too funny.
You're good. I laugh at my daughter sometimes because she'll say something, and I'm like, you realize by the time I was your age, I already had this, and I'm like, I had 3 of you kicking out. So like, where's your kids that you're giving me advice about? Oh, yeah. Non-existent. Yeah, exactly. Right. But let's get into it. We're going to be pulling from the hat again. Fan favorite topics. What are we getting ourselves into this week?
Okay, let's go. All right.
Hopefully it's not a math test.
No. Okay. I can't even read this. This is ridiculous. What does it say? Hold on. Paranormal. Oh my God. Science or myth?
Oh.
Science or
myth. Yeah, I remember. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it was one of yours, I think, Trevor, you wrote down, right?
Yeah, that was, I believe, from one of the people they posted on our on the Western Idaho Paranormal Facebook page. They were curious about, is and it's an interesting thought, because
I just want to say hi to Cody really quick. Hi, Cody. Have a safe flight. Okay.
In fact, I think it was Cody's question,
there you go.
Paranormal or myth. We really want it to be, we want it to be science, right? I think we want it to be science. And I think, like anything else, if you looked at, we go back in time to, the 1700s or the 1800s, and you were to pull out a cell phone in front of them, or you were to describe a cell phone to them, this way of communication across the world, instantaneous at your fingertips, things like that, they would have said myth all day long, right? They probably would accuse you of witchcraft and burn you at the stake. Just because something is kind of out of reach and it's not fully understandable right now doesn't mean that it can't be later on. So I think we're working, hopefully all paranormal teams out there, all collaboratively working towards turning it into a science. and it's hard because, with science, it's like mathematics, X times Y equals Z, and you can repeat that over and over and over again. But with the paranormal, it's really difficult to get those types of results for some reason. What do you guys think?
Agreed. I think you're right. I think if you're going to say, is it a science or is it myth? I don't know. In my mind, it's hovering towards science for sure. It's not a myth. And the only reason I say it isn't a myth, and probably you two can agree with me, and people out there as well, is that we have lived it. We've experienced it. So, it's a myth if perhaps you've only heard of certain things happening, but, if you had never really experienced anything, then you can continue to say, well, it's probably a myth because, I haven't seen anything. I haven't seen the holes in hands. But the science part of it, you're right. I mean, I think, Trevor, you're right. Most of us want it to be a science, but it defies logic sometimes, and it defies science most often. So while we want it to be a science, I don't think it could be a science the way that we define science, because it really defies the laws of physics, right? It defies the laws of everything. But I think what we want to do is to make it quantifiable. I think that's pretty much what we want to do. Maybe not scientific as much as, definable in some way or other. I don't know. What do you think, Kathy?
Well, I think I think there's definitely, a science element behind it. I mean, even if we look back into, earlier parts of last century, we had, Alexander Graham Bell was very much into the paranormal. He actually made the paranormal telephone, right? Where, being a scientist, I mean, this is and an engineer and all of this. I mean, he was fully adapted into, the paranormal part of science, right? You look at quantum physics, you look at different things that have all been exploring the paranormal in different aspects, or, different elements. So I definitely think there is a scientific background, I guess, is the best. I wouldn't say it is science, because science is science is relative at any point, right? I mean, look at this last year or so. I'm not going to get into that too much, but there's been a lot of bull crap science that has come out. So, but that's science can change, on a day-to-day basis, right? So, you guys go ahead. My battery's dying, so I'm just trying to plug it in on my laptop.
Well, and I agree. And the shady science thing, and that's part of the trouble that we have as paranormal investigators too, because there's so many people out there that are doing this for the. I get it. They're doing things for entertainment value, and they're boosting ratings because they have a show, and that's how they make their living, and that's great. Well, I don't make a living doing this. I'm in this because I want to prove to people that the things that I've experienced are real, and and that's about it. The thing about science, you kind of touching on it, it's evolving every day, and we don't know what we don't know. How many years ago would NASA have told you it would be impossible to take a rocket up into space and then land that same rocket back down here on Earth?
Right.
And in a few short years, SpaceX is doing it
on a regular basis.
They make it look super easy. It's amazing.
For a living.
And we talk about quantum physics and things like that. And physicists will argue passionately that there's nothing left to learn about physics.
Right.
And, I don't know a lot about physics personally, but I think it's a very bold statement to think that humankind has reached the pinnacle of knowledge when it comes to astrophysics and physics and, all that stuff. Because one thing science has not been able to explain is why people since the Stone Age practically have reported seeing spirits. and
Right.
reported seeing ghosts. And, people from all over the world, all walks of life, go to certain locations and they'll report seeing the same things, never having talked to each other, never having met each other, but will have the same experiences, and nobody can explain why that is. So I think that, as a species, we still have a long way or a room to grow and to evolve and to learn. But it's going to take time, and it's going to take patience, and we kind of have to try to get the people that are hoaxing evidence and doing that stuff to stop, so that we can really put out the real deal, and start making this more of a legitimate science.
Yeah,
that's so true. I mean, you know what? It's interesting that you say that, because I've been kind of rewatching, those Skinwalker Ranch episodes. And that just kind of blows your mind, because, you've got astrophysicists and you've got all kinds of different types of scientists, and they're all using science to try to prove things and try to get evidence. And it's blowing their socks off. I mean, so it's just, it's pretty crazy, right?
And when you investigate, like when we investigate, we approach each investigation the same way every time. We have protocols. We do things the same way, and we try to repeat results that we've gotten previously. And we've had great success doing that, because we try to stick to somewhat of a scientific method. We try to have people that show up that have no idea what the claims are, and so that they can try to experience some of the things that other people have experienced. There's ways to do it, but again, it's hard. It's so hard. When we give evidence, we only present tangible evidence that you can see or you can hear, or both.
And it's funny because ours will go in to a 2-second clip. You know what I mean? Like an EVP or some, and what a lot of people, they're trying to, discredit, or a lot of people that are making up these false claims or whatever it is. They, it's almost like they don't understand the work that will go into for something tangible. It's not just a matter of, oh my God, I heard this.
No.
It's going back and checking. It's going back and seeing, can this be, recreated in some way? Is this it? Could it have been somebody doing this? There's so much work behind that sometimes that one little shot that you get. And then you get these people that are all they're all over YouTube, and they're just, there's all kinds of nonsense everywhere.
Amazing.
They've
got ghost bait or something. I don't know. It's crazy.
What's that?
I said they have ghost bait or something. So
like all of us, these dishes that are like you're living in the poltergeist house with all the furniture flying around the room. Come on,
Yeah.
That's a great question. It's a great topic, and it's one of those ones where it's like, we're kind of in between that myth versus science stage, and what's really cool is that, the paranormal world has kind of been brought into the limelight over the last several years, and it's not such a taboo subject anymore. And so we're not looked at like, oh, you people are absolutely nuts. When we try to go and investigate someone, people are more excited about telling us their stories and having us come. So, it's been good and it's been bad, with the publicity and everything, but hopefully it's going to start moving forward. And the more people that get into this stuff, the more people that start researching it, for me, awesome, because somebody out there sometime is going to have the right idea, and it's going to change. It'll be a game changer. It'll change everything for us.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Agreed.
I agree. What is our next topic?
All right. Let's shake up the hat a little bit here. All right. I'm not looking. Here we go. All right. Ed and Lorraine Warren.
Oh, okay, cool.
Where do you stand on Ed and Lorraine Warren?
Okay, well, here's the thing. I personally know their grandson, and I've worked with him several times, and he's a beautiful man, I really admire him. I have a lot of respect for him. I'm going to say that. Here's the thing. I think with Ed and Lorraine Warren, we got to remember they were part of the pioneers of the paranormal.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's the bottom line. I have respect for them. We have to separate, and their grandson Chris has come out several times on his own and said, look at the movies, and this is where a lot of people make that comparison. It's like, if you take a look at Annabelle in the movies, that is not Annabelle. It's, Annabelle, the original Annabelle looks like a Raggedy Ann doll. I mean, it is the most harmless looking creature on earth, right? Like, you would never. However, would you want to mess with her? I personally wouldn't, whether I believe in it or not. I do believe, you know what I mean? But that's the thing. And yeah, the goofy dude is, I know. Yeah, I have no respect for whatever, Zach, whatever his name is, anyway. but here's the thing, is that they did do an awful lot of good, I think, for the paranormal world. And when you separate those movies, I mean, those movies, like they've come out, and even before Lorraine passed away, these are not the real things that happened within. They were really never part of the Enfield poltergeist. I mean, I actually, the Enfield poltergeist was one of my fascinations. I used to, read a lot on that. And they might have had a small little trinket within that. But,
Wait, the crooked man wasn't real?
What's that?
The crooked man wasn't real?
Yeah, from what I remember, no. I think it might have been part. I can't. It was something that, even though I had studied, it was quite a few years ago, so I'd have to go back. But it may have been the daughter's part of her issue, part of her thing. Maybe not so much the Lorraine and Ed. I don't think that came from that. But saying that, again, it's fiction. It's
fiction based on fact, right? Or fiction based on a story.
Right.
And this kind of alludes back to what we were talking about, myth versus science, right? And when we're talking about the sensationalism of ghost hunting, and how, like these shows that they portray, like things are just crazy all the time. And it's not like that. It's really not like that. And just like, and I will attest to this, because I've been a firefighter for almost 30 years. And people ask me all the time about, like, the shows, the Boston shows or whatever. Is it like that? And I'm like, oh yeah, Dan, and yeah, that's all we have going on at the fire station. It's just total drama all the time. It doesn't make for a good TV show. Reality does not make for good entertainment, because it's a lot of work. First of all, we spend hours researching. We spend, we go through the house, and we learn the history. We're setting up interviews with clients, and then, we set up all our gear, and TV makes it look like super simple, super quick, and it's not. It takes a long time when you have a big investigation. When we finish the investigation, or even during the investigation, I mean, we're out there for hours and hours and hours.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times in the dark, or in a basement, or up in an attic, and it's uncomfortable and stuffy, and it's hot, or it's freezing, and we're talking to the walls, and 99% of the time, nothing's talking back that we can hear.
Yeah.
And then we got to come back, and then we got to go through everything that we recorded.
Mm-hmm.
And we usually wind up going through it more than once, because you got to re-listen to things and try to decide if that was evidence, or it's one of the investigators or whatever. And then it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
So I totally understand why, movie producers and stuff did that to the Ed and Lorraine Warren stories, because, it sensationalized it. And they were super entertaining. To this day, hands down, my favorite horror series, easily.
Yeah, the Conjuring series itself, right?
Yeah, and I agree. I think Ed and Lorraine Warren, I mean, they were kind of the original rock star ghost hunters.
Yeah,
they really brought the paranormal world into the public view.
Yeah.
They were I mean, they were heavily scrutinized and called phonies and
Mhm.
frauds, and everything was super controversial with them.
Yeah.
But in the end, they did what they did, and we're just trying to continue that work. Yeah. So I think that they did a lot of good stuff for us.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I agree. What about you, Lynda?
Yeah, I mean everything that you both said, I agree. I think that yes, there were pioneers in the field. I think that their religiosity was interesting because they were absolute devout
Oh, yeah.
Catholics.
Yeah.
And it was really interesting because I think that they brought that into that whole spectrum, right? And into the field, that whole, that religiosity. I think that was important too, because so many people, especially back then, I think were trying to come to terms with their religion, how that fit into their ideology, how that fit into their spirituality. And I thought that was a really interesting thing. I also really like the fact that they were really, I think, the first the first investigators who really delved into a lot of the research on demons and demonology and sort of brought it to the fore. And you have to respect them for that. Yes, there were sensationalized interviews with them. And yes, that whole Amityville thing where they were brought in and blah, blah, blah. But honestly, I don't know. Yeah. And again, exactly. Lorraine Warren was brought in on a lot of different cases as the main psychic medium. And
Yeah.
she really, she actually was a very good medium. She did pick up on things. She was very, very honest in her approach. And I don't know. I just respect both of them. Absolutely. Pioneers.
Well, the thing is that obviously with the Catholic religion, the paranormal is usually demonic, right? Like that's how it's viewed.
Yeah.
And so for the fact that, over the years when we were investigating, we did do some cases with Catholic priests. And, I actually was, one of them said, "Could you meet me for coffee? I have questions." And I said, "Sure, absolutely. I would," and he was struggling with the idea of everything afterlife was demonic. And this was, something that he was really struggling with because he had experiences too. And he's like, it doesn't feel demonic. It feels like this, so it was something that he really struggled with. But that's where a lot of their ideology came from, obviously was from that Catholic background, but also too, it sort of really drove them, to help people and to, make a home feel safe. And that's really what us as investigators, that's exactly what our goal is too, is so that you feel safe within your home. I'll tell you something. And this is just around the time I probably just started investigating, and I was having my own issues within the house here that, I've mentioned to you guys before. And this is when my son was little, and somebody that knew of her, it was kind of like I know somebody who has a friend who knows, that kind of,
Yeah.
and they suggested I email her. Just email her. I've got her email her. What's it going to hurt? Either she's not going to answer, there's not going to be a response, or, and you know what, it took a few days, but she emailed me back.
Uh-huh.
She emailed me back, and I thought, this woman's not asking for money. She's not asking for recognition. I am absolutely nothing to this woman, but she went out of her way to give me quality advice that really actually helped me at that time.
I
So,
love that. I
It's
love
awesome.
yeah.
that.
So
That
I have
genuine-
no negative things to say about the family in general. That's where my stance is. So
Awesome. I
I've
love
never
that.
met any of them, so I don't have any. So I don't have an opinion personally one way or another of them, other than
there's
that.
a few. I'm going to tell you,
Just the
there's a
work that
couple that
they've
I have
done.
met
So.
that I would be like, run.
Me too, Kathy.
I I'm just not going to get into it. Because I think if people watch the previous shows, they can see me getting they'll know the name of that particular investigator. But whatever, it's all good.
Oh, Kathy.
Yeah.
All right. Are you ready for another question?
Yeah.
So just so you know, for 6 years, I think, well, maybe a little over 6 years, I was the local Catholic church secretary. I was the church wench for 6 years.
Mm.
And it's really interesting how many people who, who knew that I did this sort of on the side, how many would approach me and ask me questions. Because of the fact that, being Catholic, they were told, don't dabble, don't do any of this, don't. Yeah. And yet they were having experiences in their home. And I used to get lots of phone calls. Could you come and bless my house? Because things are happening. So that was just such a fascinating job, let me tell you.
Well, and it's interesting because it's not just Catholicism, in my opinion, that it kind of has an interesting view of the paranormal world and hauntings and stuff like that, because it seems like it's almost a taboo subject with most of the Protestant religions as well. And where it's not something that you talk about because they're evil spirits, and you don't want to bring in those evil spirits if you go looking for them and you're causing problems and things like that. But and it's funny how many you would think of all religions and all people, that Christians would be the most accepting that there are spirits that walk the earth, because that's the whole premise of Christianity, is that the spirit continues to live after the body dies. And we don't know for sure where those spirits go. We know they go to another place, but we've been told that place is closer to us than we realize. There's so many questions that I have, and I keep trying to answer those questions, but I just find it funny though that, the people that believe most in spirituality are the ones that don't want to accept it.
Right? You're so right, Trevor. Okay, here we go. Rap, knock, rumble. When is it paranormal?
Oh, okay.
So referring to that question, so you're in an investigation, and or maybe you're listening to some evidence and you hear a
right,
or you hear sounds that don't belong, or just kind of out of the ordinary, right? Knocks and things like that. And I'll tell you this much, in my opinion, is I will consider it possibly paranormal if it will do it on command.
Right.
More than once.
Bingo.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Bingo.
I think you pretty much covered it, to be honest, in that. I think that was mic drop, and umbrella, that was the umbrella of it. We all hear random noises within our home. If we were to sit there and it's interesting though, because when that was one of the things, and I had told you guys, the notebook that I used to get some of my clients to do, and it, I used to get them to write down everything that they were experiencing, and then turn the page so that they would not look at the old thing, because that was like a subconscious thing. So every incident you have to write down, but you had to put the notebook up high, or put it where it was awkward. Like, you can't have it beside you on your table when you're watching TV, for instance. You keep the notebook where you actually have to physically get up. Maybe you got to go upstairs. Maybe you got to reach onto the top of your refrigerator, whatever, locked cupboard in the car, who knows. But you will find that people start differentiating between the normal and the paranormal when they actually have to put effort into differentiating it. Okay, so if you're sitting there and you're watching TV and you hear a upstairs, well, I mean, that could be your furnace, it could be your cat, it could be a mouse, it could be whatever, could be Casper the Friendly Ghost. We don't know. But the thing is that once you start hearing that, you're going to start hearing more. right? Because that's just the way it works with our brains. When we're waiting for it to happen, we're going to start listening, and we're going to start paying more attention to those little creaks and knocks. And this is where a lot of sheep mentality within the household, and I don't mean that in a derogatory way, but this is what happens is one person starts getting freaked out about the little creaks and aches and moans of a house or whatever, doing something, and then it freaks out another person. They start listening, and then eventually you're either creating an atmosphere, an environment that could be, maybe even poltergeistic, I guess, or you've just basically got a lot of freaked out people. Right?
Yeah, mass hysteria is a real thing. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it happens, right?
I mean, in this investigation, we see it all the time in households. Dad's scared, so now everybody's scared.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And investigators, as an investigator, you have to be really careful of doing that too.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole we love the bash on ghost adventures, right? But they feed off of each other, and I know it's for entertainment, but they're not projecting what how it should really be. You have to remain calm. You need to be able to work through
you
things.
Have to have rationale.
You need to keep a logical, rational mind. And knocks and bumps, I mean, are so common in houses all the time. I mean, temperature changes, humidity changes. I mean, just rodents. There's so many things that cause noises in the house, and not everything is a ghost.
I'll tell you, in the wintertime, because I'm in a townhouse condo, and in the wintertime when it gets really cold and then it might get warm the next day, my whole roof sounds like it's like bam, and you think the whole top floor is coming freaking down on you, and you're like, oh my god. If we were to freak out, I think the first year we freaked out, because we didn't know what it was. Once you understand it, you got a better understanding. And so with the notebook, what I used to get clients to do is, say, okay, over the next 2 weeks, anything that you think is paranormal or anything that freaks you out, you write it down. 1 page per thing. 1 page per incident. You give 1 notebook to every member of the family. 1 page per incident. That's it, right? Got to keep it somewhere where you can't get it. You will find how fast people, so they might hear that, and then all of a sudden, oh, I got to go write that down. If they actually don't feel it's worth it, our subconscious works on this level where if we don't think it's worth it, they're not going to get out of their chair, go to their, again, top of their fridge or whatever it is, and go get that notebook to write down. It's going to be those incidents where they're actually freaked out. And it's amazing. You would give them an entire notebook. They might have 2 incidents in it in a 2-week time period. Whereas before, when they were calling you, they were huddling in the corner. Oh my God, the devil himself is coming for me, and it really reduced. It's funny how they really reduced the incidents that these people were having, whether they were real or imagined in their minds, because now they actually have to put work into it. They have to actually their brains automatically decipher it too.
I need to take the same approach with cookies. Way up high somewhere where I can't reach them. Oh, it's not worth the effort. I can't get up there.
Oh my God, that's funny, Trevor.
Yeah.
But no, I like that, Kathy. And you know what? Akin to that is if you do think that it's something relevant, and you do reach up and write it down, when you reflect on it and you take a look and you see that at a certain time of the day or a certain whatever, that you hear those knocks, well, then it could be paranormal. So, you've got to be very diligent, and you've got to be, well, I don't know, just on your toes.
We found that, I don't know if you guys, clients don't like to do the work to help clear their home, of whatever, might possibly be in there. And it's not every client. I mean, there are some clients that would be like, please tell me, I will do anything. And they would have, because they want to feel safe and secure. But, we have the other half of that, which is sometimes the attention seekers, or those that, it's easier. You just come in and take a look. You take your time and volunteer your time, and you look around my house, and then I'm going to go tell my neighbors all about it and become, known as the haunted house on the block. Right. So,
Truth. All right. You ready for the next one?
yes.
All right. Oh my God, this is so bad. I can't even read this. Isn't that rich? Oh no, I can. Best or worst investigation snack foods? Oh, come on.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay. Well,
All right,
nothing gassy.
chocolate-covered coffee beans. Best.
Best and worst investigation snack foods.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Okay. Well. All right. Well, okay. This is a legitimate question. This is a legitimate. This is good because, I would say there are certain foods you should avoid eating on investigations or prior to an investigation.
Days before the investigation, in case you have a slow digestive system.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, yes, cook. It depends on the cookies. So if you're if you're opening up fortune cookies and you got the crinkly paper during your the plastic, it's probably not the best idea, right? So quiet foods, quiet foods are important. But on our team, we actually have a rule: no Taco Bell prior to an investigation. Okay, because for everybody knows why. And yeah, you start getting phantom odors and nobody wants to own it.
Detail, please. No.
Well, most of our rules come from one of my investigators, Cody. So he kind of drives our protocols and our rules. Okay, if Cody did that, we're not doing that again. But it is really true because you can really mess up an investigation. You want to be professional and stuff. Now I recently learned a personal lesson. We did our 48-hour investigation at a house, and in 48 hours we were just staying there for 48 hours straight. Just the investigators, the family was gone. It was just us, and so we had food. We had to have food. I had a bag of Funyuns. I love Funyuns. They're great. They're tasty. When you go back and listen to the audio, all you can hear is me crunching on these Funyuns just nonstop. Like I had the microphone in my mouth with it, and it was super embarrassing. And that's all anybody heard was like, oh, somebody was just eating like crazy, like crunchy stuff the whole time. And that was me. I did it. So you do want to pay a little bit of attention to this type of stuff you're grabbing, especially if you're eating during the investigation, which is, if you have a long investigation, you need to keep your energy up. Super important. So great questions. What do you got, Lynda? What's your favorite investigation food?
Chocolate covered coffee beans. I really love chocolate covered coffee beans. They're great. They keep you awake. The chocolate is great. They're a bit crunchy, but not for long. So it's okay. Granola bars. I like those too. Those are okay. And raisins, things like that. But nothing before the investigation that's going to give you away,
Yeah.
During the investigation.
Rumblies and the tumblies.
Yeah, you don't want that.
Reporters pick it all up. It's amazing.
Or too much water. Like I know you have to hydrate, but if you're in a place like, we were in a, abandoned hospital and stuff like that, where the porta potty is like a 10-minute walk, like you really don't want to drink too much during the investigation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. What about you?
This was my snack, like coffee. I never really, I personally, would maybe have supper before I went, but it was like, normal, just, I don't know, meat, potatoes type of stuff. But most of the time we actually just ate after the investigation, more so than snacking. We would just go out, and that way we could kind of talk about the investigation, away from the house. Or if we were really hungry what we would do is leave everything running and go. Especially if we had the house to ourselves. And if the clients were there, then, we would ask if we could, do that with them, or, take a break or something like that. But most of the time we actually ate afterwards. We didn't really have too many incidents, to be honest. while we were doing the investigations. So yeah.
I have a camping trailer, a travel trailer, and where there's space, I've started just pulling that out to our investigation locations and
Nice.
setting it up so we have a way to get out of the house. People can take a break. We have snacks in there. They can have whatever. I have a bathroom. So, we're not interrupting what's going on inside the house, because I mean, we're not doing anybody any good service if we're messing up the investigation, right? But and we got rules. I mean, on our team, we do a method called ASQ. A stands for alone time, S stands for supervised, Q stands for questioning. So when we're in the alone part, we set up all of our equipment at the very beginning of the investigation, get everything running, and then we leave for an hour. And usually that's when we'll go grab something to eat. But you got to be smart about it, right? You're not going to go get a triple sized hamburger and a huge thing of fries, because your stomach's just going to be digesting that all night, and everybody's going to hear it. And then if you do make a noise, you got to own it. You got to tag it, and you got to be diligent about it. And it can be embarrassing, oh yeah, Trevor farted. But because if you're listening to an audio recorder, you can't see what's going on. And you hear this demonic growl, I mean, and nobody owns it. Well, now we're going back to try to figure out, well, did they have a demon? What's going on? And, it's just somebody's stomach. Okay. So I like that question. That's a good one.
Yeah, it's a good question.
Okay, guys, this is the last question.
Oh my God.
Okay. So here we go.
These are great questions for those that submitted them. Like they really were. They were fantastic questions.
Yeah,
so
the best for last. Demons.
Yeah.
Demons.
Demons. Somebody call Zach Baggins. Zach. Never around when you need him.
Demons. Hello.
Okay, I want to hear Trevor. Trevor, demons.
Man, what do I say about demons? All right. Demons are real, and demons are evil, and they can be dangerous. Fortunately, at least in my experience, they're super rare. They're not when you watch ghost adventures, not everything is a demon. Like they say, demons have it's kind of interesting. Demons have very specific tells, very specific signs, kind of like a disease, signs and symptoms that are you can diagnose this is a demon. There are, spirits can sometimes kind of mimic a demon. They try to. I love that demons equals ratings. It's very true. It's not fun if it's just a Casper. It's just Casper. He's cute. It's no big deal. But demons are extremely violent. They are, as I've never encountered one. But just the studying I've done, that they have a lot of power. They got a lot of like physical type strength where they can, we're talking like couches flying across the room and things like that. And they take some pretty specific steps to get rid of, because you can definitely, if you don't know what you're doing, make things way worse for the families that live in these situations, to the point where even in my team, if we suspect it's a demon, we're going to back out so that we don't do anything that's going to anger it. And we start looking for clergy members to come in and help us and help that family try to do it the right way. So that's all I got.
You go, Lynda.
I agree. I totally agree. I think that you're right. There's specific telltale signs that you have a demon. And, once you have an infestation, there are things that you need to remember. And my first thought is always clergy as well. Because, I always tell people, Well, okay, then you need the big guns. The big guns. You need somebody who understands, right? Who understands how to deal with that power, because it's not just a little thing that you can tell to go away. So you need help in order to get rid of it. There are people that I know personally that have had a demonic possession, either in their home, to a family member, or even to themselves. And they have had to have, intervention, divine intervention, clergy intervention in order to deal with it. So it is absolutely real. It's something that, we would never take on as a team, because it's bigger than us. But there are also things that people need to understand. I mean, you can invite these things in.
Right.
You've got to be really careful. Don't play with things that you don't understand. Don't get involved in things that you can't understand. And don't think that, well, it's a game, because it's not a game.
It's not a game.
And right? Like, it's
Yeah.
not a
Well, it's all entertainment until it isn't. It's just
right.
And people ask me all the time, do I play with Ouija boards? No, I don't play with Ouija boards.
No.
I don't go inviting things to my home that I don't know what they are, and I had to convince, like, when I first started ghost hunting, I had to convince my wife that I wasn't inviting, that I was going out to summon something. I'm just going out to investigate what's already there. That's it. But yeah, you start inviting, hey, if there's spirits that want to come and talk to you, or whatever, yeah, you're opening a gate that you may not be able to close, and you may get way more than what you bargained for. So.
Yeah, exactly.
100%. 100%. A lot of people, and again, I think because of the fact that as investigators, or even, what's portrayed on TV or whatever, people tend to think, everything is like, even like we were talking about with the church, everything's demonic. It's always got to be demonic. It's always got to be this. It's always got to, and as Trevor said, it's a very rare incident, for that to happen. It's not something like every paranormal experience is not demonic. But again, I think it was you, Lynda, that said it mimics. It can, spirits definitely can mimic. So, as a reader, okay, so as a medium, for instance, I'm just going to go off of how I interpret this, okay? Because as a paranormal investigator, yeah, I do believe in the demonic. Now, as a medium who has seen crazy shit, and the thing is, a lot of readers or a lot of mediums, I don't think they quite understand, like, I'm on some apps and I do readings and stuff like that for people. But where I got my start was being thrown into the paranormal. I didn't start off reading little tarot cards. I mean, I've always read tarot cards, but that wasn't for clients. That was for me. It was for my learning, my whatever it was. And a lot of these readers are, a lot of readings are love readings. Is he going to call? That kind of stuff. But when you're thrown into the paranormal as a medium, and that's the first thing that you're encountering, there's a shitload of crap out there that people don't understand. And I don't understand everything. We don't understand it. We see it. Is it demonic? No, not everything is demonic. I mean, there's shit that that you're just like, oh my God, like, am I literally crazy by seeing what I'm seeing? But at the same point, if you can look at it in an objective type of way, you kind of understand it. And it's, not all non-human entities or spirits are demonic. Some of them are there, whether they're elementals, whether they're, they're just there as help in some cases, whatever it is. But the true demonics, you see them. and you feel that energy. It's not an energy that you want to play with. It's not an energy that you want to laugh at. It's not an energy that you want to hang around. As a medium, if I'm doing, if I'm looking into something along that line, I can usually feel that energy before and it's very rare. I think I've only encountered it once or twice, in the last 15 years. And it's very, very rare. And it's something that you don't just throw around. You don't throw it around and go, oh, you got a demon, you got this, you got that. No, you know when you've got that. And it's very, you feel it. You feel it as a sensitive or whatever it is, what it is. And sometimes you feel a more negative energy and you're looking at it and you're going, I don't like this energy. But some people were just really shitty before they
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Like, let's
I
be
mean,
honest. There was just some shitty people that died, right?
That's where we get the whole term malevolent spirit, right?
Right. Yeah.
And that's just it. I mean, there are people who were pricks in life.
Yeah.
Guess what? Death ain't gonna change you. You're gonna be a prick in death. And there are angry spirits and there are violent spirits, but they're not demons. People get pushed downstairs. People get scratched. Things like that. Not necessarily a demon. And that's been our experience as far as what we've ran into. And those things we can handle. We can help people with those.
For sure.
No problem. Kathy, what is your recommendation for people who have a demonic infestation? How do they go about trying to?
The main thing is, for sure, like for me personally, I would still to some degree at the first treat it like a regular, like I would definitely The Notebook, you know what I mean? Because a demonic entity, you got to remember too, they're fucking smart. They're not stupid entities. Right? They're smart. And what are they going to do? They're going to try to stir up your fear to give them more energy and more power. They're not like a regular spirit. Like a regular spirit will feed off of your energy, but not in the same way.
No.
Right? A demonic entity, though, wants to stir that chicken coop and get everybody all excited and then really feed off of that energy. And so things like The Notebook is a great idea. Something like I always suggest to people never talk in their home about it because again, you're feeding the energy, even though a home could be a mansion, it's still four walls, right? And so it's like the mom and dad, they would always go, the mom, the proverbial mom and dad going into the bedroom to fight. Well, usually mom and dad end up in a fucking divorce. Why? Because of the fact that they're fighting in this small area. And you're feeding that energy, right? So if you're talking about it in the house and you're stirring it up and you're stirring up, and remember again, demonics are smart. They're not stupid. They're there. They're listening. They're waiting. They're watching. They're wanting they want to piss off somebody. As a medium, I mean, personally, if I feel that energy, I back away. I'm not some, we get all of this. We hear this crap about people that are like, I'm a demon fighter, warrior, bullshit kind of crap. We all have to deal with all of that, nonsense. And I just like, whatever, you go to fantasy land and you go do whatever you think.
I'm adding that as one of my titles, Demon Hunter.
Right? Yeah. Demon Hunter. You got to
we're going to boost our ratings real quick.
It's always a demon warrior hunter or some crap like that. They give themselves some prestigious title. But it's a matter of like, if I feel that energy, I'm backing away. I'm going to suggest to people that the less that they feed this energy, chances are it might just, move off. A lot of times it will move off because it's not feeding you. It has nothing to chew on. Yep. And if it doesn't have anything to chew on, it's probably not going to hang around for too long. I also suggest to people sage the house. But when you sage the house, and this is where people make a huge mistake when they're saging or cleansing their own homes. First of all, somebody else coming over to the home, somebody else can guide you through it, right? But if you're paying hundreds of dollars for somebody to bring over a stick of sage, you got more issues than your demon. Right? Because like it's all about the power of the person, right? We are the most powerful beings. And so, you know, when you know, people that try to threaten the, you know, a demonic is the stupidest thing. They'll be like, I'm gonna go kick its ass. Okay, there, Popeye, have at it. Like, you know, and you know, it's again, you know, it's like demon warrior hunter. Okay, you know, but a lot of people do these stupid things. I'm going to threaten it. I'm going to do this, like, you know, but if you're cleansing your own home, this is where a lot of people make the mistake, is that they'll be like, you know, it's the law of attraction too, right? If they're like, oh, I don't want any this or that or the other thing in my home, and they're naming all of the negative things that they don't want, you've just literally invited all of those negative things into your house.
Mm-hmm.
The law of attraction, if you're saging and you say, I only allow peace, love, and prosperity within this house, within this room, within this closet, within whatever it is. You can do each room. Personally, if it was demonic, I would do each area separate. Peace, love, and prosperity only within this room. You know, I would divide it up into those smaller things. And you will notice the difference in the change in the energy. It doesn't mean that you're going to remove everything that might be paranormal within the house. But if it doesn't project or have the intention of some sort of peace, love, and prosperity, even if it's non-human, because again, non-humans can be actually sometimes helpful. We just don't know at that point unless you actually have other evidence to back it up. But when you go peace, love, and prosperity, bang, you're pretty much like protecting your home. You're putting a barrier on your home right there. And it's funny because I've noticed that some people have even said to me, you know, my mother-in-law came over and she didn't feel very comfortable. And it's like, well, your mother-in-law is maybe not there for peace, love, and prosperity. So, you know, but people don't feel comfortable if they're not within that alignment of energy.
I think that a big part of that is when you do that, you have to do it with the attitude and knowledge that it's going to work.
Right. Yes.
Don't be timid about it, because you are powerful. This is one thing I think that really, when we talk about the Conjuring movies, the first one, I thought that they nailed on the head when they talked about the signs and symptoms of the phases of demonic infestation and things like that, and how it is literally a battle of will, and that demons are going to try to wear you down. And the biggest thing you can do, and I love what Kathy says, and the way I would say it is, you got to lay siege to the demon.
Yeah.
Okay, you got to starve him out, basically.
Yeah.
You don't be afraid. I know it's easy for me to sit here in a chair in a place that isn't haunted and say that, but you have to find a way to not be afraid.
But if you're dancing and turning on music and enjoying yourself,
yes,
and life, like
good uplifting music, you know, hymns, or, you know, church choirs, whatever just brings a positive spirit into the home.
Yeah.
You know, because evil and good spirits, they don't mesh.
Right.
You know, and so if you can eliminate the negativity out of the house and get it, Lena just posted positive vibes.
Yeah.
You fill your house with those positive vibes. That's basically like, that's your antibiotic against the infection right there.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I agree. 100%. 100%. I think that if you envision all of the crap in the bottom of a cup, and you keep adding really clear, fresh water to that cup, eventually it's going to move all of that stuff out of the cup and away. And all you're going to be left with is this great, wonderful cup of clear, wonderful water. So
That's just such an excellent example. It really is, like, the way to think about it. What a good visual that brings.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's what you need to do.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So this was amazing, guys. Thank you so much. Like, this was so much fun. We really want to do this again. So again, submit your topics to us. You know, post them on the I Want to Believe channel, send them to us through, you know, DM. You can email us, and you know, however you wanna ship them to us. We'd be more than happy to have them. I don't actually know what we're doing next week yet. I'm not sure if we have a guest or anything lined up. Well, I guess we'll have to
It'll be a
see.
surprise.
It'll be a surprise for us all, but
It'll be a good show regardless.
yeah, we'll be here. We will be here. So thanks, guys, for watching. Have an amazing week. Take care, everyone, and we will see you soon.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.